single day.
And
watch as an Abbotsford police officer picks up a wad of cash inside the house of a suspected gang member and stuffs the money into his sock. But tonight, government lawyers have decided this is not a case of a cop caught red-handed. Good evening. We begin with a major development in that case as Crown prosecutors decide not to lay charges. CTV's Penny Daflos reports on a controversial decision that even goes against the recommendation of other police officers.
that Abbotsford police officer didn't know a camera was rolling as he helped to execute a search warrant in a drug trafficking investigation exactly 1 year ago. It records him tuck a wad of cash into his sock and clearly shows American bills mysteriously not on the evidence list. The CFSEU recommended theft charges as a result. The gang squad unit conducted an extensive investigation, but the BC Prosecution Service says the likelihood of a conviction is too low due to reasonable doubt and the fact the officer testified he returned the money. That's despite their own statement reading in part that the actions of the subject officer are concerning and there's an absence of plausible explanation.
In 30 years, I've never seen this.
The video nearly derailed the charges against the alleged drug trafficker. Abbotsford police tell CTV News the officer is still on administrative duty. When the issue came to light at trial, they were clearly not pleased with the explanation he'd hidden the money as a joke.
Well, we expect our officers to maintain a high level of professionalism throughout all investigations, warrants, that sort of thing. So our concern is that a practical joke is inappropriate and it's concerning to us.
The problem for prosecutors, while this video shows a lot, it's incomplete. Portions disappeared and the Crown says there's just not enough. But the officer isn't clear just yet. Now that the criminal investigation is done, a new investigation will take place under the Police Act. It'll be overseen by the Office of the Police Complaints Commission and carried out by New Westminster Police. Their chief will decide whether there was any misconduct and what potential discipline might be. Penny Daflos, CTV News, Vancouver.
Watch, cop clearly caught taking man's cash, stuffing it into his sock, no charges. A police officer was seen stuffing cash into his sock during a raid on a drug suspect. He told prosecutors it was a joke when he got caught, and they believed him. By Matt Agarist, November 16, 2018. Victoria CA. In a case that proves the notion cops can be seen breaking the law on video and not be charged, a police officer in Victoria was seen taking a suspect's cash, shoving it into his sock, and he will face no charges. This is in spite of the fact that the department called the officer's actions concerning and the taking of the money wiped away most charges over the raid. According to police, they executed a raid on a resident in November of 2017. It was during this time that the officer was seen on a video recording from the suspect's home, picking up a wad of cash from the desk and shoving it into his sock. For 6 months, the officer thought he'd gotten away with it. However, during the trial of suspect Brian McDonald, defense lawyers produced the hidden camera footage showing the officer's alleged crimes. As the video shows, the officer is in the room by himself, as he looks around. When he spots the cash, instead of seizing it in an evidence bag, the cop shoves it in his sock. Now for the most ridiculous part. When confronted by his department, the British Columbia officer said he shoved the cash into his sock as a joke and they believed him. The department believes the officer because he claims he returned the cash after his joke of shoving it into his sock, with no one around to see it. However, there is a major problem with this joke claim as some of the bills shown in the video were never submitted as evidence. According to the BC Prosecution Service, the gaps in the evidence do not provide sufficient proof to raise the allegation of theft. Apparently they watched the video with blindfolds on. As CTV News reports, the service says several factors, including the presence of other possible suspects and an inability to acquire all the video from the scene, mean the evidence can't support a prosecution. Showing just how unnecessary the raid was, McDonald was acquitted of all charges in September, except for a single count of possession of a controlled substance. Highlighting the irony of this situation is the fact that the only person held accountable in this incident was a person selling another person a product they voluntarily agreed to purchase. When the alleged good guys showed up to prevent any further voluntary transactions, one of them was seen committing an actual crime of property theft and he will not face charges. Sadly, as TFTP reports on a regular basis, this type of incident, including incidents in which cops are seen robbing people on video, is not uncommon. Even when there is overwhelming evidence against the officer, and they are found guilty, rarely do they face any accountability. As TFTP reported last month, Officer Lynette R. Crouch was seen on his own body camera not helping a 74-year-old man who was having a heart attack but robbing him. The elderly victim, James Mabe, had the cash to go buy Christmas presents for his grandchildren, but because the cop robbed him instead of helped him, he'd never make it. As we reported on October 4th, the officer who stole a dying elderly man's Christmas money will not be going to jail. Last month, with almost no news coverage, Crouch pleaded guilty to robbing the elderly dying man. Instead of being punished for his utter betrayal of public trust and despicable act, Crouch was given probation and will not spend one day behind bars. Spread the love.
Hey Sheriff County, this is Sheriff County COPWATCH. I am using any video here with under fair use if you have criticism, reporting, teaching, etc. And please donate. I do not make money from YouTube, and there are different ways to donate in the video links. Thanks.